Welcome to the War Memorial in Wynyard. As you can see there, we're walking a bit closer. Gallipoli was always prominent in these First World War memorials. It was where Australia first saw significant action, and some claim the birthplace of the nation there. Also fought in France. The names you can see there are people from the local district who passed away or gave their lives for the country. Well, it would have been for king and empire in those days, but yeah. Also fought in Egypt and Palestine, as it was. And of course, the French and the Belgians were next door to each other, what was known as Flanders at the time. Now, there's war memorials all over this wide brown land, even here in green, sunny Tasmania. So sunny today, obviously. Raised by local councils, local residents, to honour the people that went off to fight for king and country and empire. Empire seemed to be a real big thing then. Before we get onto the attending weaponry, I'll point out that on the 25th of April every year, which is the anniversary of the first landing at Gallipoli, there'll be a dawn service and a commemoration for all who have served and fallen, all who have served and suffered. The next big commemoration will be on the 18th of August here, which is the Long Tan Memorial, which honours the veterans of the Vietnam War. Now, the other thing that grew up around these monuments over time was captured enemy field pieces, locally used field pieces, and here in Wynyard it's no different. We'll just go over and have a look. And here they are, a couple of 5.5-inch medium guns at a crew of 10 each. What a respectable piece of kit. If you look at the side here, you can see that quadrant there. The guns I worked on, that was a full circle. That's used for determining the angle of the barrel to how far you need to drop the shell. It's got ranges and whatnot on there, and you adjust the handle on the right to get to the correct spot. The little nodules along the bottom there are the size of the charge put behind the shell. So, an interesting piece of kit. These are a Second World War weapon. As I say, there's a lot of 25-pounders as well around these sorts of memorials, which is also a Second World War weapon. And over at Deloraine, they've got some German trench mortars that they captured. And over at Ross, there's an 18-pounder, which goes back probably to the Boer War. Well, we might do a tour of all the weaponry used in war memorials at one stage. If you like that as an idea, let me know in the comments. From the guns there, as you can see in the background, that's the Wynyard River. Tide's pretty much out at the moment. We'll be walking along the river all the way up to the yacht club, along what's technically known as the River Walk, but we'll get to that when we get to it. It's well paved. This part's not actually part of the old rail line, but a lot of this coastal walk is. And you can go from here all the way to Devonport and I think down to Latrobe. It's quite a useful amenity and well maintained. See the river flats there, definitely low tide. And there's a breeze on the surface blowing the water back on the top, but you can't really get a good view of that. Up past those buildings up there is where we're headed. If you have a look in front of us there, so there's like a little stadium there, the flat roof, where they hold citizenship ceremonies on Australia Day, and there's functions here during the Tulip Festival. The dates for that across the bottom of the screen. Quite a well-used piece of property. And there's a spot there as well. While the roof looks very architecturally impressive, it's pretty much useless when it's raining here, as I spend a lot of time here with my last place of employment. And you can see the tide's out, and you should be rather pleased that you're not getting smell-o-vision, because there is a bit of a woof coming off the mud flats. Here's a closer look at that pavilion, and just to its rear, that orange building, public facilities. I forget to use those. Well, like most of the ones in Tassie, they're pretty much smaller at the time. We're heading up towards that blue building there and the pontoon jetty off to the left, which is used by the locals and visitors for fishing. Normally when there's a bit more water, like you'd see people fishing at all times of the year. Because it's sea fish, because it's tidal, there is no licence required, only for inland fisheries. Do you need a licence in Tasmania? Approaching a pontoon now, and quite handily, at the front of it, before you go in, there's a handy chart. You know what you can and can't catch here, and the sizes and the numbers. So we look there at mackerel. Where else is 30 per bag limit and 60 per household. So that's an awful lot of fish, which is not a food I'm keen on. There you go. There's plenty of options there for the angler. Head down the pontoon jetty. We'll stop about halfway. You can see there's the fishing flag there, far south of the state, so it's a long way from home. Continue on. You see the pylons at each end. It allows the pontoon to drift up and down with the tide. So a well-known fishing spot here. It's far enough out, even at low tide. Although it can get a bit hairy when there's a flood on it, I tell you. Across the river is the pleasantly flat Wynyard Golf Club. I've actually taken people round there, and without the need for a buggy. It's a nice, pleasant walk. Very, very flat. Wynyard Wharf with a closer look at the west wind out of Dover. Very Spartan, very efficient. All you need and nothing more. Things, boys and things out there. Nautical term for it was not coming to me. If you know what it is, drop it in the comments, please, because I need to. I really need to know that. So that's the west wing. Plenty of parking here. Something at a small mast, it's like a self-furling genoa and a mainsail. It's also self-furling. From the size of the thing, they would have a motor as well. There's a corner of the wharf. I have a private thing. crafted. Should get a view of from the side here. We'll see a little bit more of it go out the corner. There are the boats making use of the private pontoon. I'm out of sail, couple of speedboat, power boats. The opposite of those is the more formal river walk, just in case you're on the shore. I've got a name on it, the river. Formal station facility, you know. Also part of the establishment was a shipping container accommodation units. I don't know, look for the side so you can see you go deep down. There's that containers. It's between them. So windows at the top got the airing, let the light in rather. This one's the same. Conveniently named Starboard. Also have you all standing 60s, 70s, 80s style motel rooms. Little boxes with a bed and a shower and a telly and tea and coffee waiting facilities. So a pretty nice cafe. Yeah, it does a reasonable breakfast. The coffee's okay. The coffee's good. Then you get a nice view of the river across to the golf course, which really isn't an unpleasant view at all. View tree of the Wynyard River flows in. There's some stored water as well. So there's another pontoon, but it's been left not so much high, but definitely dry with this low tide. We'll wander over there and have a look. To the end of the formalised part of this section of the walk. There's some more views of the tributary flowing in. As I say, if you know what it is, put the name in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. Got to the end. It says a river walk on two faces, which is nice. And you can see the traffic on the main road into Wynyard at the back there. Approaching the end of the walk, so we step up towards the Wynyard Yacht Club, which is a fairly grand name. It's more of a sailing club, lots of dinghies, that sort of thing. Looking back down the Wynyard River, you can see the boats there on the pontoon, and over to the right is that pontoon that was left high and dry. So we'll wander over and have a look. Boating safety information there, because this pontoon is for people launching small craft. That's the boat ramp, which I've also seen people fishing off the pontoon at the bottom here. Wander down and have a bit of a view. There's another view of the golf club on the other bank. Just pan around slowly. Let's see where the Wynyard River empties into the sea. Round to the Wynyard Yacht Club.